Funsie. What is up, everyone? Wait, Jay Millie, is that hat off of Instagram ads?
No.
Okay. I just randomly thought about that because we were talking about the hat before. But anyways, enough about your hat. What is up, y'all? How we doing? Wait, I have a hat down here. Anyways.
Dude, we're doing. It's good. I'm getting more into the swing of things of my work week and whatnot. So yeah, all things have been good. Feeling good. Putting up thumbnails and
how's the Great Blackbird migration been treating you?
The Great Blackbird migration. Yeah, that's a very deep cut inside joke with Ben and I that I don't even remember the origins to, but we won't even get into it. But yeah, things have been good, man. What about you, Josh?
Things are going, man. Getting situated in the new house. Seems like we're having some chill vibes on the Funsie podcast today. Emanating from everyone. Just trying to push out a video sometime this weekend, as usual. You know the vibes.
Me too.
Nothing too special.
Dude, I edited yesterday. You guys should be proud of me.
Ooh, let's go.
Wow.
A little something that I've been working on for 2 months. Not actively working. Like I left it off 2 months ago and just picked it back up. But yeah, anyways, we got a special guest coming to the show.
Guests.
It is guests, yeah. Well, guest as in the brand, but yes, we have 2 guests. Dead Last Disc Golf Club. Welcome.
Dude, what an intro.
How you guys doing?
Good. I have to ask, is this the first woman on the podcast?
It might be.
It might be. Yeah, we've had Anthony from Happy with Par, Jesse, Andrew Manginelli, and yeah, making woman history. Let's go.
Yeah, stoked to have you.
Thank you.
That's huge.
That's what I'm saying. We need more women in disc golf. We need it. Let's go. Bring it on. It's awesome to see a woman disc golf brand owner kind of doing their thing. So
Give us the 10,000 foot view about what you guys do, what you guys make, how you got into disc golf. Synopsis.
And quickly before you get into that, I wanted to congratulate you guys because I think I saw that you said that it's been pretty much 1 year since you started the brand, correct?
Ah, heck yeah.
Yep, almost exactly.
well,
That is
huge.
so exciting.
yes.
So I'll start by how we got into disc golf, and then we can get into how we started the brand. But
Yeah.
basically, I got into disc golf like a lot of people during the pandemic. I ended up getting pretty sick at one point, and one of the things that brought me back into doing physical activity was disc golf, and I kind of just fell in love with it the first time one of my friends brought me playing. So from there, I've basically been playing not every week, but almost every week since around, I think, 2020.
Yeah, but we started the business actually kind of by accident, but it was Christmas time, probably last year, honestly. And I was looking for anything for Matt for Christmas, and I could not find, honestly, a single thing that was kind of cool enough. I know that sounds mean out loud, but
No, that's
yeah,
perfect.
I honestly just wanted something like interesting and cool and different and like really disc golf related, and I couldn't find anything. It was either like golf clothing or like some really cool neon bright stuff, which is not Matt's style. But yeah, I started designing actually some type of like, I tried to do like a cowboy theme with like a western skull on top and chains and stuff, and then finally I kind of gave up because I couldn't do it alone and get it produced and all that fun stuff. So I showed Matt, and he was unemployed at the time, which was actually a blessing.
Yeah.
So from there, he kind of took it and just ran and
Yeah, then
did
I mean,
all the follow through.
then we launched as Ben knows at the Northeast Disc Golf Expo. Now what is it? It's
East.
Disc East.
which I
So
can't say
Yes.
properly.
Never forget.
so that was kind of our start of launching the brand, and then for the last year, it's kind of been a whirlwind of trying to figure out how to run a business because we've never done it before. So as you guys probably know, from nothing, it definitely takes a lot of learning, a lot of doing stuff yourself, and a lot of late nights.
100%.
So I want to hear the story because before you officially debuted at the expo, you had a little hiccup, I guess, let's say.
Yeah.
So tell
Very
us,
expensive one, actually.
yeah, tell us about that.
Oh, dear.
I think the people don't really know about it other than me.
Yeah,
People want to
yeah.
know.
So basically, we actually started off as Death Putt Disc Golf Club. That was the official name when we started. I did a lot of research of trying to look up like anyone using the term death putt or like copywriting it or trademarking it, whatever it might be. And unfortunately, there is actually a word mark for the term death putt. So technically, we weren't allowed to put that on anything or have that be kind of like the title of our business because,
This was after we printed,
yeah,
had
Oh,
done
no.
like hundreds of sweatshirts.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That hurts.
Well, where did those go?
So we ended
We
up,
have a few.
yeah, we still have a few. We ended up, I think, giving some out at the expo
Yeah,
still.
don't
So
tell our
like,
lawyer.
yeah. So fortunately, we were able to get rid of most of it. Thankfully, we still have some left, and we're not sure what we're gonna do with them. But yeah, after that, I mean, the people at I think it's Sunstein Law. Technically, they also kind of are in the disc golf realm. They really helped us out with like giving us the right advice for what direction we should go in, and I definitely want to give a shout out to them because although we made an expensive mistake, I think they've helped us through the process of even actually right now we're in the process of getting Dead Last Disc Golf Club as a word mark ourselves just to kind of
Ooh.
protect our brand, which we
Yeah.
actually, although expensive, are kind of advocates for, I think, because the more you can kind of like protect your business, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
Completely.
makes sense. One day when your brand is worth millions, the Death Putt sweatshirt will be a collectible item that goes for
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much
it's
money.
true.
It'd be so
I
cool.
love that. It's so
Yeah,
funny
there's
because oh, go ahead, Matt.
there were some hats as well, I know. So like, there's only it's a very rare item. So if anyone has
Collectibles.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
they're definitely collectible at this
Put them
point.
on eBay.
That's
Um,
right. That's right.
What I was gonna say, the funny part is, so Matt didn't tell me this. He
No.
just didn't tell me this until dude, it was like last second before the expo. So much so that if you go on disceast.com and look under vendors, it still says Death Putt Disc Golf
Yeah.
Club. Because I just didn't know. He was just like, yeah, I didn't want to bother you with it. But yeah, but you had the Dead Last launch at the expo, and what I commend you for is, it was at that point it was $425 to vend, which for a starting brand is insane.
That's a commitment.
Personally. But that's what I commend you for. Like, I love that you had that vision to see that, like, this was important to be there, and you put up money up front, and then, eventually, even during the expo, you came out positive, and through that, you were able to, so I think it's just a really good lesson that sometimes as a new business owner or brand owner, you have to take these risks. Because I remember like trying to convince you, not like as in if you weren't gonna go, but I remember being like, this is like the place to be for your new brand, like trying to give you all the sales tips, and then you were like, yeah, I'm in. I was like, oh, I guess that was way easier than I expected. But yeah, I think that was super cool, and I think it's a testament to how successful you guys are, is because right off the bat, you were all in, and you were like, I want to do this, and you put up the money, and through that, it's been rockets ever since.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the dress for the role you want kind of a thing. We really just like jumped into it, and we do have a lot of imposter syndrome like every single day.
Yeah,
Especially
you're
when
in the
someone
right
reaches
place.
out.
I'm convinced
It's
that
really
everyone,
funny.
a lot of people have that, just in general, at least in like the space of like creative business. You're always like, am I making the right choices? Am I like, do I even like what I'm making? Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to pivot, so you were saying that when you were trying to buy like a Christmas gift, you were, I assume, looking at like disc golf equipment. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or like like clothing and accessories and whatnot?
Yeah, so honestly, I was not a disc golfer. I'm still really, really awful. I kind of just go for fun and like toss around, but I didn't really know equipment at the time, so I didn't know what he needed or what he didn't need.
Hmm.
So in my head, I was like, let me get him something like a sweatshirt or a crew neck or something that's like cool that says something disc golf related but wasn't like in your face. And there's
Right.
nothing. Like I was on Pinterest, I was on Google, Etsy, like everything. And
Hmm.
I think there is like a time and a place for some of the designs that are or were out there. I'm sure there's more,
Yeah, it's like
options
hit
now.
trees, and it's like the rainbow, like red, yellow, blue, like rainbow background with like a silhouette,
Yeah.
silhouette of a basket, and it's like
And it's just a super cheap T-shirt
yeah,
that,
like
you know,
yeah,
you sweat once and it's
yeah.
ruined and hangs off
Someone
your
just
body.
exactly, and
A lot
like
of clip art.
yes,
Yes,
So much
exactly.
clip
yeah,
art.
green
And I
printing is just
understand if like someone,
horrible.
especially someone not in the community, because obviously there's like like happy with par things like that, which you guys met at the expo. But yeah, there's really unless you're like in the community and know kind of the brands. Yeah, you're right. There's kind of like nothing really to look up disc golf apparel other than like Etsy or so stuff like that, or like what pro shops provide, which
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
isn't even great either.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what exactly, if you didn't see something that you enjoyed, what is the aesthetic that you guys try to go for with your clothing brand to like try to bring to the market?
Swag.
Do you want to take this one?
You want, yeah. Um, Honestly, I wanted something that Matt could wear, meet me at the bar with my girlfriends, have a drink and like feel comfortable in, but also wear on the course. So it was kind of like a toned down, minimal, also don't take yourself too seriously kind of a thing. Like I was telling Matt a while ago, I think like the idea behind the brand, which I know our name's kind of goofy and it's fun and like I don't think we'll ever lose that, but I think a lot of it is like respecting the sport.
Hmm.
Like when you look up disc golf and you're like kind of a newbie and you're looking at it, like I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look like the coolest thing ever. But
No,
Nope.
no, not at all.
I'm
No, we're
sorry.
nerds. We're
Yeah, I think
nerds.
It
I
looks
think disc
lame.
golf,
It 100% looks lame.
disc golf for the longest time, I feel like the aesthetic was like being dorky and a dweeb, and that's kind of like the cool thing. And now I
Bullshit.
feel like with like your clothing brand, and you even have like we've had Silas Schultz on the podcast, you've got Anthony Barella, and like all of these things combined are starting to like add legitimacy to the sport, and people look at it and be like, oh wait, disc golf's actually cool, and it's not just a bunch of 40-year-old dudes like chain smoking cigarettes in like
exactly.
like plaid shorts or whatever. I mean,
Bro,
no hate to those things, but
Si-
like there's more to it than that for sure.
Silas is a dead last disc golf club fan. He rocks their hats all day. I think he did a social media post with it on too at one point.
Yeah, he
I
did.
forget, but yeah.
That was
So
cool.
so
You
there you
must have
go.
been stoked.
Oh, it
Our-
was a good moment. We've ended at the MVP Open, and that's kind of how we had the opportunity to meet a lot of pros at the time. I mean, where we were stationed was pretty great, where we were able to actually Nathan, that's where I met you, but I called you
Yeah.
Nick on accident because
Hey.
I just remember people usually based on their Instagram handles. But I think that like just the opportunity to speak to pros, which is something that's very rare for I think sporting in general, is so cool. And that's like a big thing about the sport is I think that like since it is so accessible, that's kind of an important thing about like what we do as well is making sure that like what we're making is something anyone can be comfortable in, so that's kind of a priority for us as well.
yeah, I will say off the rip, you guys. I mean, my dead last DGC crew neck is actually right there, right off the rip. You gave that to me at the expo, and right off the rip, I was like, dude, this brand's legit. It was just like you guys understood like like fashion and being cool and things, which I think yes. Um and being cool and stuff like that. Which I think was a really cool twist, and I was rocking that crew neck all over. And I still wear it. I mean, it's the first. I'm looking at it right now. It's the first shirt out of my closet. That's how you know I wear it a lot.
We do a lot of testing of stuff too. Like we
Right.
don't want to do like crappy quality. So a lot of the time we'll like buy blanks and then just have them in our closet. And like if I'm not reaching for that sweatshirt or like trying to steal his, which is most of the time, like I don't want it. Like I want everyone's partner, girlfriends, wives, like whatever. Like I want them to want to steal the sweatshirts. Like that's the goal.
That's cool.
Right. Clothes that look cool, and if you know that it's disc golf, you're like, oh, it's disc golf. Otherwise, people are just like, hey, cool hat, cool sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Kind of subtle.
Sick.
So all of us have had our moments where we're like, did that just happen? I can't believe this. Where you're like fist pumping. What has been, since you're a year in, what has been that moment for you where you're like, oh my goodness, this just happened. I like, and then you're jumping up in your kitchen. If you have any stories like that.
You have one.
Yeah, well,
No?
I think just in general, the MVP Open was like an incredible experience where everyone was so receptive, and at the Northeast Disc Golf Expo, we were so new, so a lot of people didn't necessarily know like what we are, what we were doing. So to kind of see how a lot of people we met then and have followed us on social media actually like came up to us now and wanted to say like, "Oh, I love the crew neck I bought like 6 months ago. I wear it all the time." Things like that have been really awesome. And I think the MVP Open specifically was a culmination of like seeing our work, the friends that we've made, and just being like surrounded by disc golf people for a weekend was really awesome.
You remember the what the heck moment? We had like kind of a lull and no one was really coming to the booth, which happened a lot, like a
Oh, that
quick
one too,
quiet
yeah.
moment. Were you there? I don't know. We're just standing there and Paige Pierce comes just like barreling up. Like she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Walks over, buys a t-shirt and like bounces. Like it was no big deal. And we were like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Like, didn't really interact with you at all. It just kind of was like all about business and got out of there.
I think maybe she like didn't. I don't know. I think maybe she was exhausted. I think it was towards the end. I think she probably was just like, I want this and I want to leave, which honestly respect that.
Was it the
Or
champions shirt or whatever?
Oh, it was
History.
the Northeast one.
Oh, sick.
it might have been one of those situations where, like as a consumer, if you go up to a brand that you think's well established, you're not going to be like trying to talk them up as much as if it was a small brand, that's trying to grow. And so maybe she was just like, oh, this brand looks great. They're well established. These aren't the owners of the brand. They're just people that are selling the stuff. She might not have realized that,
Yeah.
you guys are still on the up and still growing, and you guys are literally the people that make it. She might have just was like, oh yeah, this is a great disc golf brand. From what I've seen of you guys' stuff, it's like, it's not like you had to figure out like the designs to make. Like the designs you make look like they're quality. The material you have looks like it's quality. So it might have just been like, this is a well established brand. I'm just gonna go up there, talk to them, grab my shirt, and leave.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. I mean, we took my parents, we borrowed my parents' minivan to
Oh
stuff
my god.
everything in, and the brakes were so loud that we had to arrive very early to make sure that like we didn't disturb players because they were just like they were squeaking like
Oh my
crazy.
god. Yeah, like it looks like we have everything together. We have nothing together. We are
Yeah. Well, yeah.
throwing
Fake it
things at
till
a
you make it.
wall.
You're dead
There you go.
last. That's
Yeah,
what happens. It's a part of the
that's right.
brand. It's
Do,
part of the
Exactly.
brand.
so do you guys think you like next tour season? Are you going to try to make it out to more in person events, or would you like to mainly focus on just like the storefront and trying to sell shirts just to the broader disc golf audience and not do as many in person things, or maybe like a mesh up of both? I guess, what are the future plans? What does the growth look like for Dead Last?
Well, first, obviously, like any good brand, it starts at Disc East and hopefully also at Disc West, I believe. Is that the
Disc
South.
schedule?
South.
South,
Disc South.
sorry, Disc South. So those are going to be hopefully big stops for us to start the year. I think in
Heck yeah.
general, just with how rewarding the MVP Open was, just from like even a meeting people perspective, it
Yeah.
seems like something I would definitely be more interested in trying to go to events across the country and see like different communities, because right now we really are in New England. We're based out of Boston. And truthfully, like for us, we're kind of in a disc golf desert where we are. So like I have to travel 45 minutes to play if I'm going to play 18 hole
Mm.
course. And like for us, we want to be able to not only go to events, but also hopefully in our free time play around or something like that. So that's kind of the hope at some point. Obviously, like right now, we both have full-time jobs. We're both, definitely busy people, but this is definitely something we really enjoy doing, and it's definitely our passion project. So we hope to keep it going with both events and yes, the storefront as well online.
What do you guys do full time, if you don't mind me asking?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
I am great. I am a mechanical and software engineer. So I
Oh,
studied mechanical in school and then switched to software. So I do software for a mechanical company.
oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
I work for an architecture firm doing proposal
Ooh.
management. So I'm not an architect myself, but I help to basically win projects for the architecture firm. So that's basically our roles are both in the architecture, engineering, construction industry.
We met at work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I
Yeah,
did
I'm
not
a
know
I'm a
that.
mechanical engineer.
Oh,
No
nice.
way. That's
Yeah, I work
adorable.
at Lockheed Martin. I don't know
Oh,
Yeah.
we
if
know
you
the
guys know.
name. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I do full time right now. Hopefully not forever, but
I was gonna say, honestly, based on your content, it doesn't seem like you have another job. It seems like you really do put
Is
your
that a
best foot
compliment
forward.
or an
No, no, no.
insult?
No. It seems like he puts his best foot forward in his content, and I think that like it seems like he puts a lot of time and care into what he does. So I think that that definitely shines through. I mean, even for I know Nathan, at least for you, you're doing the another round Instagram page, and I could tell immediately when the content
You
changed
said
to
that,
something
yeah.
different because it felt elevated. It felt like there was a certain like touch to it, a certain care. And that's something that like I mean, obviously as people who now are working and owning a brand, like we notice it immediately when someone puts in that effort. I mean, I think Jay Millie today we were watching some of your videos and one thing I actually noticed a lot is you use a lot of like synthesizer like riffs throughout your music. I mean, if you don't notice that you do that, I don't think it's something that like certainly someone would recognize right away, but it's really cool that like I don't know, to me it seems like there is a theme with what you do and like for us theming and how like you present yourself as like a brand, a person, an expo, whatever it might be is so important to like I don't know, producing good content and also like good product in the end.
Dude,
yeah.
you guys are
No,
gassing
I
us up.
Packaging.
And
thanks.
like
Yeah,
getting the
thanks
Yeah,
for
I
guests
the
on
mean
the
we
vibe,
have to.
podcast.
You
man.
invited us on. I mean, we have to say something.
Bro, you guys are easily gassable.
Branding
You
is
got
everything.
yeah. So I have a cool story that I have with Matt, which by the way, this guy's name is Matthew Matson. Legend.
Maddie
Absol-
Matheson?
No, Matt.
Yeah.
It's Matthew
I know.
Matson.
I got it. No.
That's
Matt.
I actually told
Matt,
your
Matt.
dad at the MVP
Matty,
Open.
Matty.
Like I was like, thank you, thank you,
He
Thank
did
you for
actually
the-
do that.
thank you for the artistic choice. That I love it. But anyways, so when I was officially gonna announce the Disc East, Disc South name, for some reason I was in the sap house and no one knows the story, and I was just having a crisis. I don't know why, but I was like, oh my goodness, like, am I really about to change my whole entire expo's name? Like, is this an idiotic thing? Like, why am I doing this? And I was just pacing for an hour and I was just like texting all my friends. I was like, should I do it? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't like, for some reason, something in my heart, I just started getting scared, like the repercussions of like, oh, this is a bad name, whatever. And I'm walking back to my booth at the MVP Open. This is like after hours, and Matt's there, and I'm like, Matt, come over here. And
I do remember this.
yes, I said, come over here, Matt. So we walk to my booth, and I'm like, I tell him to spiel, like, bro, like, should I change it? And Matt's like gassing me up. He's like, dude, Disc is such a sick name. Disc Golf Industry Showcase, Disc East, Disc South. Like, you have to change it. Like, why wouldn't you? This is amazing. And Matt, your confirmation was the reason I went through with it. You were like the in-person final, like, you know what? I'm just gonna send it. So
I think that like just in general, what you're doing, if you have the confidence in your idea and you're going to like follow through with it, you just got to be fully committed to what you're going to try. And like I think that the term Disc East, it's the same thing as
It's
like
so cool. That's
yeah,
I love it.
it's the same thing as like PAX or any of the other like expos that you might hear of. No offense, Northeast Disc Golf Expo. It's a mouthful in comparison to saying Disc East. And like once you actually kind of commit to that idea, I think like it's great. It's very simple, and I think people will remember that. They'll be like, "Hey, you're going to Disc East,"
Yeah.
and that's it.
So I know 100% glad I changed it. Like 1,000%. I think it was the right move, but it was just one of those things where it was just like right before it was literally I was about to press post and I just couldn't put my finger on post because I was like, should I not change it and just make it like the Southwest Disc Golf Expo or something like that? But yes, dead last potentially will be at Disc East, potentially at Disc South, and Jay Millie will be there too. So you guys will be able to
Nice.
meet up and stuff like that if you do decide to go. Or well, Jay Millie verbally, obviously something can come up, but verbally Jay Millie has told me.
Well,
he's
no,
coming.
I was shaking my head because I feel like there's been so many podcasts where we've talked about Disc South, and you've been like, Jay Millie's gonna be there. Jay Millie's gonna be there. You
You're
haven't
the only
like really,
appearance I have, bro.
Yeah, but you haven't like I don't know officially asked me or like I don't know. We haven't talked about it that much.
No,
like
you
I've
on the
definitely-
podcast
I've
you said you'd
definitely-
be there. That's why.
No,
You've
I
said
mean,
it on
I'll
this
be there, but like I don't know. I just
There's a lot assumed right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
Send
I'll
him
be
a
there.
card.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
All right. Sorry, I guess I didn't ask you. Maybe if, but I just assumed because you said you'd be there. On this podcast.
No, I'll be there. It's just funny. Like I don't know. I expected like man, I wanted to save the date, dude. Come on.
Okay, true. No, the reason. So I will say the reason at first I kept saying Jay Millie would be there. It was more of like a elbow bump. Like Jay Millie's gonna go. Like yeah, right, Jay Millie. So I guess that's probably why I never officially, because then it transitioned to you being like you'll be there. So I will ask you after this
Yeah.
podcast. I'll call you up and
No, we're good.
we'll get it-
We're
we'll get it
good. I'll
rolling.
be there. It's been funny.
I'm sorry. I'm just so hyped that you're gonna be there. You're like the best YouTuber in the game. Let's go.
I
One
do
of
have
the-
a
if you
quick
say so.
I do have a quick side tangent. Like you said that you have to drive 45 minutes to go play like an 18-hole course. I've
Yeah.
seen all the like 9-hole courses that are around like kind of greater Boston area. I was going to ask, are any of them actually good?
I'm not gonna speak to them because I don't want to speak bad of any disc golf anywhere. Because like
Well, right,
any
right.
no, any like anything that you can put up is good. I think honestly, because like when there's nothing, it's better to have some baskets. But I would just say that like for me, if I'm gonna leave to go play somewhere, it will take like even probably 20 plus minutes to get to a
Mhm.
9-hole. So I might as well go to an 18-hole. So that's kind of my thought.
They're fun to practice. Like I like going to them because they're quick and easy. But
Right.
yeah, I feel like if you want to have like a day and you want to play like either a couple rounds or meet someone, like you're not going to the 9 holes.
What are
but-
the 9 holes out there that you guys go to? Because I'm not really familiar with Boston, like because there is nothing there. But
So, Scouting Woods,
Oh,
I
is
think,
it?
is the name of the one. That's technically like the closest. It's in Peabody, which is north of the city. And then I know there's
I
another
have
one
been
that's
to
like,
the PVD one. Yeah.
and then there's a veteran one west, and I always forget the full name of it, but that's a 9-hole one that like it's basically just a bunch of ace runs in a pine grove, which is actually
That's
it's
perfect.
fun. Yeah, but like
Sign Sacco up.
I'll be there.
But it in that one as well, like it's fun to just like get out. But again, if I'm gonna drive like 25 to 30 minutes, I might as well go to like and this is kind of more inside local baseball here, but like I'd rather go to Borderlands, or I would go to somewhere like even Clement Farms before I wanted to
Yeah.
go to like a 9-hole. So
Oh yeah, I don't blame you for that. Clement Farm, like little side tangent. That was just like we randomly stopped there one day just by complete chance, and we're like,
Beautiful.
oh, this is actually one of the best courses I've ever played in my life. Cool.
Yeah, so
I
that's the
Anyways,
love
first
it.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the first one that I played, and I was like, oh, every course must be like this or better. And that's not necessarily the case, but I have to say, I've met the people who do the coursework there, I think maybe 2 or 3 times now, and they're the best. I mean, they really put their best foot forward on like changing the baskets to the A and B position for different times of year. And I mean, just in general, that community is pretty
They're great.
confident about their course, so they take care of it.
I love it. So, so we talked about your successes and such, and like what you get stoked about. And I know we kind of started a little bit with like a mistake that you made. I'm sure there are other people that want to start clothing brands, whether like even if it's not disc golf related as well. Do you have any like examples of like maybe mistakes that you guys made? You don't have to get crazy with it, but like that you would like love to tell them or your past self to be like, hey, avoid this or do this.
You want to do one and then I'll do one?
Ugh,
Wait, I
no,
mean,
there's a lot.
you're gonna make mistakes. I mean,
There's too many to count.
yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say
yeah.
the I think the one big thing is that like if you're going to be willing to invest in yourself, you do have to be confident about the choices you make, and making mistakes is something that's totally fine. And in fact, like losing a little money here or there, and a little is a lot to some people, but losing money isn't the worst thing to happen because you can always like work hard to make it back. I think for us, some of the bigger mistakes, or the smaller rather mistakes that we've made, I think have to do more with like maybe necessarily like color choices, things like that. You For us, since we're small, we can test small batches because we actually own an embroidery machine. So a lot of like the crew necks and things that we
Mm.
do are things that we do ourselves first. So we can do like samples, for example. So like at the MVP Open, we had a rack where we had multiple colors and people could choose those different one of one colors, but that also informs us on what people like. So that's a good way to try avoiding mistakes. But I would say when you're going to order bulk, just in general, if you can know who's like actually going to be printing your product, so you're confident in that, I would say that's a very big thing. And then you can buy blanks online as well if you want to make sure that you're comfortable with the quality. And I think that's a big way to avoid mistakes early, where you don't have to get something that's too cheap or something that isn't printed properly. And you just have to really ask around if you can. But that's kind of I guess, the bigger things or ways to avoid making mistakes. I'm trying to think of a mistake that we made. I mean, the death putt one is
Yeah.
definitely the biggest by far. But I would say just in general, like there are things that we've made that haven't sold, or haven't sold as fast as we were hoping it would. And I think to kind of that, it's more about not being able to get to your target market enough sometimes. So sometimes
Mm.
it's just about being confident and trying to not necessarily like force a sale or anything. That's not the right wording, but rather like making sure that you're still confident in what you're making.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense. I kind of have a question, but it's not necessarily off of that. My apologies.
That's fine.
Um, you guys, you kind of talked about branding a little bit earlier. I'm pretty particular about branding, brand association. Like I won't associate with certain brands because I don't like what they put forth. And so I feel like I've looked at y'all stuff and I notice a cohesive brand that puts together good merch, quality merch, all that. Is there like, do you guys have a mission statement? Do you have like things that you are like calling cards, or is it more just vibes? Like, are you just working off vibes and saying, yeah, this is the vibe, like this is what we want to put out. This matches what we're going for.
Yeah, I feel like for our brand in general, like we want to be just like good people in life, and I want to be a good person like in business. So there's not going to be any like making fun of people. Like the whole point of the dead last thing is that like yeah, it's funny, but also like anyone can join and anyone can kind of feel comfortable and confident playing and joining like the club. But a lot of it's vibes, most of it is
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's actually like the hardest part is having a cohesive brand, because a lot of it is like these crazy ideas that kind of come to you. Like I love drawing and like designing, so a lot of the times he's thinking of an idea and I'm drawing it out, but getting that to fit within the brand, I think is really difficult. Um,
Totally.
which is why I think like the vibe we're going for is going to like continue to be like a minimalist, kind of wear it out and wear it disc golfing. I think that's kind of like our main purpose, while still making sure that like everyone feels comfortable and confident. But yeah, keeping consistent is the most difficult part of the
Totally.
entire brand.
Sometimes it
Totally.
does come down to like taste. I think that since we kind of share the same taste in general when it comes to
Yeah, we're
what we're
lucky.
wearing, it definitely makes it easier to make a cohesive brand because we have the same opinions most of the time on what looks good and what doesn't. I jokingly tell people, but like on the hat that I made, this is just a graphic design using whatever creative software. The lines themselves took such a long time for me because I wanted to make sure that like the specific spacing was right and like looked right to me. And that's something that it's just sometimes I guess it is vibe based. Not to say that
I
that's like the
know.
right way to go about creating a brand, but I think that it's about capturing what you want to be. And I think that like creating something that's clean and well designed is important to us. But the essence of that design is kind of, I guess, up to whoever is designing.
Yeah.
Which is
You
us.
know,
Yeah.
kind of like looking at what you guys have out right now, and like there's the one shirt that has a skeleton hand, right? And I know you mentioned earlier something about skeletons. I think it could be cool for you guys to have that theme running over multiple shirts, and maybe that's already your plan. You mentioned it already, but like a little skeleton man, like throwing a disc at a basket, like real small on the front or even big on the back, maybe even embroidered. Like I think
Yeah,
that
that'd
would
be
be
cool.
so awesome, and so like that's just the vibe. Dead last disc golf seems right. Seems
Yep.
sick. I would wear a shirt like that.
Yeah, we actually were trying to do a Halloween drop this year where we're going to
I know.
focus on more like skeletal and like
Ooh.
Halloween like things, which fits our brand so well. But
Hmm.
just because of time and how busy we've been, unfortunately, we've had to kind of hold off on those ideas until next year, hopefully. But yeah, we really think that like just in general, I mean, even the pins that we came
Oh,
out
I
has
forgot
like
one.
our skull with wings on it, which we did recently. I think that like trying to keep it within a certain idea definitely helps for people to recognize what you're doing, and dead last and
Totally.
skulls kind of goes hand in hand.
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh,
oh, sorry. You
We
go ahead,
all
Ben.
just tried.
yo, I.
Uh, who, who's going?
We can't see each other's faces.
I know.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So where do you guys actually get like inspiration from? Um, yeah, I guess that's about the end of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of mine is like because I'm not extremely involved in the disc golf community. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't before. But I think a lot of the times Matt will say something like, "Oh, my disc is understable." I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, what do
It's
Yeah.
you
on the
mean?
sweatshirt.
Yeah, exactly. So I was the one that came up with that design because I'm like, that's so weird. Like, are you talking about your personality, like, or your mental health? What are you talking about? So I think like being on the outside and like also being involved in fashion, like I love fashion. I love like scrolling Instagram, checking out TikTok. Like it's just kind of fun to be involved and mixing those together has been really fun. But yeah, I think having like an outside perspective, I think we're really lucky that we have like an outside perspective and then like an insider's perspective, I think has worked.
Are there
Shamelessly.
brands? Are there
Oh,
brands that
sorry.
inspire you?
Inspire us.
Uh, uh,
Dude,
I
you
mean,
should go.
I'm
like, I don't know.
I think like honestly in terms of like inspiration when it comes to clothing specifically, there are a few brands that we definitely we look up to. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like copycatting or anything like that, but we definitely find that there are some other brands that exist, and like every art can be a recycled form of another art in a certain way.
That's
So I
that's
think
all art is.
yeah,
It's just bits and pieces of other art.
right, and I think like to us, we kind of run with that idea to a certain extent where because we're in the disc golf space, there's so much unique um titles, understable things like that are only in disc golf that you can pull in and like use creatively, in a way that at least I think is pretty cool. So that's kind of one of the ways that we kind of like mash up things, I guess.
Yeah, and like going to courses, they're beautiful. Like, especially in New England. I mean, I'm biased, but they're beautiful and you're walking around, you're in nature, you're outside. Like, I feel like a lot of the things kind of just come to you. I needed a creative outlet anyways. I love to draw and paint and all that fun stuff. So being in nature and kind of seeing these things and connecting them together, like with disc golf, is, um, I guess, an inspiration. But yeah, a lot of it's kind of just things we like and things we enjoy and
I
trying to make it
think
work for a brand.
I think you guys could get a lot also from there's a lot of cool, very unknown kind of golf brands that I think I don't even play golf, but I follow one. I'll just it's called Jain, Jain, and I follow it just because the aesthetic is just so sick, and there's so many of those smaller kind of streetwear golf
Lifestyle
brands.
brands.
Yeah, which I think you guys are going for. So I think that like if you just did a rabbit hole, like starting with Jane and then like seeing who they follow, who they're commenting on. I think because there's so many cool things in the golf industry, and I think you guys are really the one of the. I don't want to say not you're one of the first because I'm so new to this golf, but to me it seems like you happy with par. I can't even think of really. C1 disc, are all like even diameter. Diameter is more professional, but C1 disc is is professional, but also kind of streetwear-esque, where it's like we see these new brands coming out and becoming popular because it's more just fashionable. And I think you guys are on the forefront of that. And hopefully when that next disc golf boom comes, you guys will be, riding that wave because you're already established.
Yeah, I think just to return to like what the inspiration might be really quickly, I think one thing at least for me is like if we want to wear it, like if it's something that we're reaching for, kind of as we mentioned before, then that's kind of like the number one thing to us, I think, because like I know what I like and I know what she likes as well, and that helps to inform like creative decisions. So we're lucky that we have basically the partnership between the two of us to like come up with things, bounce ideas off of each other, and I definitely don't take that for granted. It definitely helps us to come up with things that we're confident in. But I think that's, I don't know, one of the things that helps us to create in general.
Um, what can we see coming in the future for you guys? Anything that you can maybe tease that might be coming out, or what you're planning on doing?
I can tease one thing that we're
Like,
actually working on right now. So
Yahoo!
we really, I mean, at least for me, I think that a lot of sports teams in general do a great job of creating like, for example, in like soccer, different kits that like they're very confident in. So we actually are working on something where we're gonna hopefully have a jersey every year. Just one jersey that we have, and that'll be like a specific drop so that you
Sick.
can have like the athletic wear and wear it hopefully both on the course and at the bar. So that's one thing that we're definitely working on, and hopefully you'll see something by the end of the year on that. But that's like one thing we're kind of excited about that is, I guess, right on the horizon.
I feel like we have so many ideas and like so many things that are actually like sitting and waiting to be put out, but like, it is just us two. We're not millionaires. So I think that's like a lot of the slow pace that people are seeing, but hopefully we can start actually
Are you
pushing
sure
stuff out.
you're not millionaires? I see the cat aristocrat poster behind you. I think it's a one of one Van Gogh.
Yeah, that's our
Telltale
child.
sign of a millionaire.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that is our cat. She's
That's your actual
running
cat?
around
Wait a
somewhere.
second. I need to know more about this. That's crazy. I thought this was just
Yeah,
like
how'd you
something
get her to
got at
pose for
Home
that?
Goods.
Yeah, your cat's a baller.
We did not.
I don't even know how I found the website to get that done, but
Yeah, it's
That's
just a website that you sent the
hilarious.
picture. And
That's
he
awesome.
surprised me with it one day, and we've always wanted to like have like a fun, moody room. Like the rest of our house is kind of average. We do love interior design, but I literally came home one day and the entire room was navy blue, and that painting was like front and center. And I was like, oh my God,
You're like,
okay.
hello.
That's awesome.
I
Okay.
love it, but yeah, it's
I
really cool.
I have a question. So like you mentioned earlier, so you're the first female guest that we've had on the podcast. So I was curious, what do you think holds disc golf back from having more women in the sport in general? Are there things like maybe you notice or things that you would even like that would potentially bring in other ladies?
That's a really good question. Um,
We have one of those or a couple of those every podcast,
yeah,
hopefully.
Let's
just
go.
Sometimes we break
one.
them out
Yeah.
just for special occasions.
Yeah, sometimes we try.
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I think meeting a lot of women in the community, I think that there's not a lot of like representation in brands, honestly, and I might be biased because that's kind of what I'm looking at, but a lot of the time people will come up and like we have this one pin, it's like Hot Girls Hit Trees, and it just blew up. I think that there's like
That's
a lot.
amazing.
It's very funny. We're making hats and hopefully crew necks of it, but I think that there's just not a lot of like representation of it. And I also think that like girls kind of like don't gather in like middle school and start to like do sports. I don't think that's ever been like pushed on young girls. And I think the guys kind of always had that, let's go out and play frisbee or play ball or do something. And I think that kind of brought the community together. So I'm hoping in the future that does start to change and people do kind of gather and want to go out and do a sport. Like when I was younger, there's no way I would have gathered with my friends to like even go ride bikes. I know a lot of guys used to do that in like middle school and high school, but I don't think the girls were like encouraged to. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that's changing a little bit, but I also think like a little bit of representation might help in like brands and honestly like ads. I think that
Yeah.
some of the disc golfers now are kind of killing it, some of the women, so I feel like that'll hopefully bring some more girls in.
Yeah. Something my wife mentioned to me when, I inevitably brought her into the sport unwillingly,
Dragged her
was,
in.
Sorry.
yeah, was like, you look at the jerseys that these companies put out and you're like, why would a woman ever want to wear that? I'm a man and I don't want to wear that. Discraft, what are you doing? Shout out. But like
Yeah,
it's
Call out.
she was
talk
just
to us.
like, there's no representation. There's nothing designed for women. Like there's like Discraft
Not
isn't
even
putting out
sizing
women
wise.
jerseys. Yeah, sizing, like it. If we want more women in the sport, tailored to women, it's just marketing. It's just how it goes. So I don't know. I agree with you. My wife holds the same sentiment. I think it's silly. I think disc golf is missing out because disc golf's for everyone, and we're leaving out half the population by not catering to women. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
to like somewhat go off of that. So also like my wife Kiara, she before she likes to try to get better at disc golf as well. And you look up form videos, it's like there are no women form videos anywhere. And like mechanically, what a woman has to do, I'm sure it's somewhat different compared to like
Yeah.
what a man is capable of doing, even just like a power pocket or something like that. Like that's not even close to being the like exact same thing. So even just like I'm sure if someone started doing that, like some lady started putting up like a bunch of YouTube content, I'm sure that would help bring in some ladies as well.
Yeah, I
shout
didn't think
out
of
our
that. You're
lady
right.
listeners.
Yeah, hopefully.
Shout out to all of you. A good resource if you guys are in the Northeast area, as in our listeners, not you guys, is Northeast Women's Disc Golf. There's a ladies group. They get together a lot, and every Wednesday at Maple Hill they get together. But where I'm going with that, there's people that have been in the game like Julie Fridella for a while, and Chantel and Kim, and there's a lot of veterans that have been in disc golf when they were the only women showing up to lead. And where I'm saying with that, you can find solace there, but also I think they're a great resource for you to reach out to and for lessons and stuff like that, especially for Jude. Her name is Julie Fridella. She offers lessons, and I think it's a good because she's been playing for a while, or like Carly Sharon is nasty and one of the best women in the New England area. So yeah, we could just get in touch with New Northeast Women's Disc Golf, and it's a cool club. It's like a social club for women. Super cool.
Shout out.
Heck yeah.
Shout out.
They're awesome. They've been nothing but sweethearts to us. It's been great. I'm hoping to send them some design ideas, especially because I'm not like a phenomenal disc golfer. Like actually sending the ideas to them and making sure that like when we first created the Hot Girls Hit Trees pin, I was looking at Matt and I'm like, this is so offensive. Like I can't put this out. Like that is so
No,
mean.
it's hilarious. I like it.
Like-
I might once you guys put out hats, I might have to get one for my wife.
I
Same
might get
deal.
one for me.
Yeah.
Like I'd wear it, bro. I'm not even lying.
Ben's a hot
Like,
girl.
I would 100% wear a Hot Girls Hit Trees hat.
They're coming for you. They're coming out soon.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear. I forget what I was gonna say. If you guys have anything, I honestly forget. I was gonna go.
Actually, do have a question for you guys.
Yes.
So obviously, you all have to carry your own brands and what you're doing. What do you think the most important thing is about kind of carrying your brand identity within, honestly, what I consider a relatively niche space?
Ooh, who
I
wants
can
to
go
start with that
first.
one?
I can go first. For me, my brand identity, carrying it, and this is gonna be probably different from what Jay Millie and Sajko say, because I'm thinking in a different way. My biggest thing, brand wise, that I want to do is I just want to be kind, and I know it's like so. Is it cliche? Yeah, cliche. But that's my biggest thing is I just want to make sure everyone that thinks of Ben Kenny or knows me thinks like, oh wow, he's done a lot for me, or he's done so many things for disc golf, or he's an amazing human, and that's what is the most important thing to me, and that's how I operate in my business, how I operate just in my daily life. I try to just put my best foot forward, and I think that's single-handedly the most important thing in branding is just caring for others and helping others out, and giving people breaks when even if it doesn't benefit you per se. Just like, people are going through times, so that's mine.
Jay,
Do you want to go, Sajko?
Millie?
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
I feel like I have a few different avenues I like to look at it as. Kind of going off of Ben's avenue first. Everything boils down to trust when it comes to being a YouTuber. Honestly, when it comes to being an entrepreneur or a small brand owner, everything comes down to trust. The more you can build trust, the more you can build a fan base. For me, it looks like I want to build trust in my audience that they trust any video I put out, regardless of what it's about, is going to be a fun video that they enjoy watching, that I obviously put a lot of work in and spend a lot of time trying to come up with. The brand that I've tried to establish is one of quality over quantity. When it comes to my YouTube videos and my shorts and honestly anything that I put out, my goal is to put out quality over quantity. I don't think quantity is bad, and I think you can put out quantity with quality, but I maximize quality, and that means minimized quantity. And so trust, I think it boils down to trust. But outside of that, like, I want everything to align, so like what you said, like testing blanks and like making sure that you have a quality product, a quality design. Since quality is what I've kind of built my brand off of with my YouTube videos, that means it has to influence everything else as well. So like when I put out merch, I wanted to make sure that it was a high quality shirt, high quality hat, and that I was happy with the design, and like obviously there's going to be growing pains, and sometimes I might miss, and you guys said that sometimes the color isn't right and you might have overestimated how many would sell.
Yeah.
But like when it boils down to it, I look through it with the lens of the consumer, and as a consumer of YouTube content myself, I'm like, would I watch this? As someone who buys merch, I'm like, would I wear this? And so that's the biggest gap we can fill. Like you said, you couldn't find any good merch that was disc golf related. So you made merch that was disc golf related. That was good. I couldn't find any videos on YouTube that were the YouTube style and not just people playing 18 holes of disc golf. 18 holes of disc golf has its place in YouTube, but I liked something that was a little bit more story based, maybe even a little bit faster paced. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't find any of this. Might as well make it. And so I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but here we are.
It's passionate.
Dude, yeah.
I guess my trust is what it boils down to. And that's pretty basic, but that's something that I think about like in its entirety. And I feel like that's how I can try to tie my brand in. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Sick. For myself, I just want to feel genuine and relatable. So like all the stuff that just fell in love with disc golf and then just buy an iPhone and then record every single thing. I think 99% of the things that I have edited myself or for another round have been just like on an iPhone, like recorded and edited on an iPhone. And like that's even just another round in general. And now they have, I think I saw 77,000 followers. So at least like when I got into the scene, it's a lot of people trying really hard to like tell you how good they are and show off how it's like, oh, look at these pros, look how sick I am. And I'm like, I could not relate to this at all, nor do I really care about this like weird narrative that you're trying to paint me. So yeah, I don't know, just trying to feel like we all have these thoughts, and I think some people are afraid to put out like their authentic experiences on Instagram because it's not like a highlight or something. So yeah, I just want people to be able to be like, oh yeah, I have that too, and then feel okay that they feel that way. That's it.
Yeah, I think in general, just like what you all have mentioned, and I think that's something we try to capture as well, is like we are ourselves. Like you carry over like the quality as well as specifically the word, Nathan, that you mentioned about being genuine. I think that's one thing that you all, including ourselves, carry over in what we do. I'm not going to make something I don't like, and I think you guys are kind of the same way, where if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not making something that you like first, it's not going to be something that succeeds, I personally think. But it's really cool to hear how you both have separate approaches, but I think they do come down to some like key building blocks. Specifically, trust is a great thing to build any brand off of course, because like if you know you're going to get something you want every time, that's a really awesome thing.
Yeah, that's the goal.
We were at the Northeast Disc Golf Expo in the very beginning. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
We're plugging you as many
Thank
times
you.
as we
Keep
can.
plugging. I love it. These guys don't let me. They don't. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
But yeah, I think it was the first day, I showed up like blazer. Like I was wearing a full sport coat blazer, like dressed to the nines, like trying to be like, this is like
Job fair.
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
like we're just so professional, and like no one approached me. Everyone was going right to Matt, and I'm like, what is going on? Like no one wants to even look at me. So finally by the end of the day, I was exhausted. We were there like hours. It's a long day, but I took my shoes off. I was just hanging out, took the blazer off, and everyone was like, oh, are you guys new? Like, yeah, like we're brand new. So it was really like interesting to see that people respond to that. Like people respond to you just being like, I'm exhausted. Like we both have full-time jobs. Like you guys are all working full-time and creating content, and like telling people that makes them feel less alone, I think, which is really comforting. Like even I think we were watching your video, Jay Millie. Giving you a nickname. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that.
It's always Jamie's video, never ours. Just kidding.
But yeah, we were watching that earlier today. We were just eating dinner and watching it. But I think seeing, now I'm gonna sound mean, but like seeing you fail and like actually,
Yeah.
through the process of it. I'm so sorry. It's not that you're doing great. But
Thank you.
But seeing like, yeah, the rounds that you don't do so well, like watching that and seeing that is really comforting. Like, not even just in disc golf, but in life. Like, it's exhausting. There's so many different avenues. There's social media. There's so much to keep up with. And like, seeing someone be authentic and just telling you how it is really comforting. And even being like dead last, like, I'm awful at disc golf. But as long as people know that, and I'm not trying to be something that I'm not, is really nice. And I think it resonates with people, and it makes you feel good as well.
Yeah.
Undo P.
I completely agree. I feel like the standard used to be like fake it. Like I said fake it till you make it earlier, but like it used to be just like dress up and like put on this facade and never let anyone know that you're struggling, and like that's what people respected. But I almost feel like with the introduction of social media and just such an intimate sharing of information
Yeah.
about your life, it's turned to, oh, hey, I'm struggling. Oh, I respect that. You know, I trust you more than I trust the guy that's winning everything. You know, if I watch a guy play around a disc golf that's like, you know, he's 940 rated, but he shoots -18, I'm like, sir, are you sure? You know,
Yeah,
but like if I see
cut the
him
camera.
shoot like +3 or, you know, a couple under par, I'm like, oh, okay, respectable. You know, hits first available. Oh yeah, that's legit. You know, I trust this guy. I resonate with this guy. So yeah, I completely agree. I think that's where society in general is at, and also disc golf. You know, people. I didn't think originally. You know, like when I would post my bad rounds that people would enjoy it, but they still enjoy it, and you know, here I am.
Yeah, I think,
So
and I think that's
be
something.
genuine.
Yeah, that's something I've had myself too. Like, I think that's so important that if you do like 18-round content, I think it's so important to post your first shots. I mean, that's something I've always done, and it can be easy to not do that. Very easy. You usually just go run and get it back. But I think, like you said, I think there's a trust aspect that you'll start to realize, like, you know, if people are actually being legit. So I'm the same way. It's like, I mean, I have a typical me. I have a mile marker 63 video that I have just on the backlog, and it's just like terrible. But it's just like, I was just like, I missing putts left and right, but I'm like, I gotta be legit. And I think that's such a good lesson for everyone. Just in life, not even if you're making 18-hole disc golf rounds, just like be legit, and don't lie. And yeah, fake it till you make it, I think, is good in a sense if it's not deceiving. Like, you know,
It works in some avenues and it doesn't
yeah,
work in
like
some avenues.
it's not good in the way if you're wearing a fake Rolex and, like, you know, like trying to be something you're not. But it works in a way if you're like, you know, like my life is just like in shambles right now. I'm so stressed, whatever. But I have to like present like everything's okay for this opportunity. So there's obviously, yeah, certain situations where fake it till you make it is 100% cool.
Yeah, I think fake it till you make it is more like just keep going.
Yeah,
I think it's more just like the desire to want
that's a
to
good
sleep
point.
or to want to watch a TV show, and instead you spend the time editing a video, whatever it might be. And yeah, I mean, it's really easy to show a good shot. It's really easy to post like a shot where you were killing it and everything went well. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to show when you do poorly and you're vulnerable and like you're not doing as well, especially like when you are aspiring to be good at what you do. I mean, in general, I think disc golf is something where your score is what your score is. So like if you do bad, you're going to see it on the scorecard. If you do good, you're going to see it on the scorecard, and that's like the thing that doesn't lie unless you take a few extra shots and then
Seen
tell
you
people
take a few
after. Yeah, I
extra.
was gonna say I do that, but I think that's just more in the casual
Well,
rounds.
we
This time,
all
you
we
know.
all take few. I mean, I'm known for taking
Yeah,
the
you're on the
most.
Funsie podcast,
Yeah,
which literally is throwing.
Why did we not think
Yeah.
about that?
Funsie is a second
That's-
shot for fun.
Yeah, that's literally what our title is all about: taking second, third, fourth shots, and you know, obviously we don't put the score down, but you know, sometimes when you do bad, you just gotta rip it once more. But yeah, if anyone has anything else, I think that was a super cool podcast to get to know y'all. And thanks for hopping on. And if there's any last shout outs you want to give, or let us know.
I was going to say, until Ben told us that you guys were coming on, I hadn't really seen anything from you guys, but I've looked at what you guys have, and it's very respectable. I look forward to what you guys put out in the future. I think you guys got a good thing going, and I hope we all keep growing with the sport. Heck yeah. There's
it's a pleasure to talk.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to talk to both of you, really. I mean, it's cool to have something that's semi-local to where I live. And I didn't notice until now, but like it seems like the East Coast is killing it in terms of like disc golf clothing brands, which is really nice. But yeah, you both seem like you can tell that you're just like good people. Like you have a vision of what you're trying to do. And it shouldn't be that crazy to be like, oh, those are like two cool things to like do a brand. But like Josh said earlier, sometimes you see brands and you're like, I don't necessarily agree with like some of the things that they're doing or the things they're putting out, and you guys have something special going on.
Thank you.
But yeah, give us your last shout outs.
Go ahead.
Oh gosh.
This is the first woman on the podcast. You got to give the final
Yes.
log off.
No, I think
Shout out women everywhere.
Yeah.
Shout out women.
Women, Northeast women's disco. Oh my god, I can never. I'm so bad at names. But the new DG has been really helpful. It's been fun to meet some of them and get their opinions on things. And honestly, like my partner, Matt. So it's been fun to actually bounce things off of you, and really grateful for you.
Yeah, and you can find us at Dead Last DGC on Instagram. We have a Facebook, but it's mostly just Instagram posted to Facebook. And that's the same thing. Our website is Dead Last DGC. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for having us on. Honestly, like when Ben asked, I was like, well, I guess we have new plans on Tuesday night, so it's really exciting. Sorry, on Wednesday morning when this was posted. And we really appreciate the fact that you guys were able to give us the time to kind of talk about what we're doing. And I think brand in general is so important. And I think the more we're able to get people to be their individual brands in disc golf, I think the more the sport will grow with that professionalism. So that's what I find really exciting about what we're doing, and then also what you guys are doing as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming on. This has been
Yeah, thank you guys.
Funsie.
Funsie.